So I'm going to be doing a quick little video again over substitution because some students were having difficulty with this yesterday. I want to make sure everybody has a clear understanding of what it's asking you to do. So whenever you guys are doing the substitution method, it's very easy. You just simply take the first equation right here, the 7x plus 10y equals 36. And it's very important that you understand what your y value is equal to. Your y value is equal to what? 2x plus 9. So I have to take this, and wherever I see the value of y, I have to plug it into the top equation. So I'm taking this and I'm plugging it in right in here for y. So you need to write 7x plus 10. We open up a set of parentheses, but instead of putting the letter y, I'm plugging in 2x plus 9 equals 36. So that's the first step. The first step is to take what? To take what y is equal to and plug it in. That's the first step. So hopefully you're working along with me. I'm writing as slowly as I can as to allow you to be able to catch up. Make sure you're not just watching the math. Make sure that you're doing the math with me. Now, you guys see this 10? We need to distribute that 10 to both the numbers. So we're just bringing down the 7x. 10 times 2 is 20. I'll do the calculations for you. Just trust me. 10 times 9 is 90. And that equals a 36. So after we distribute the 10 times the 2 and the 10 times the 9, all we have to do is add our like terms together. Does anybody know what 7x plus 20x is equal to? 27x, right? So we have 27x plus 90 equals 36. Now, at this point, you just have to solve for x. So to solve for x, if you see a positive 90, you should know at this point in your existence that you need to take away 90 from both sides. Okay? So when you take 90 away from both sides, 36 minus 90 is negative 54. You could do it in the calculator. It's okay. You can do it in the calculator. But if you do it in the calculator, you should get negative 54 if you do 36 minus 90. Okay? What would be our last step on this one? Divide both sides by what number? 27. Okay? 27. All right? And x equals negative 2. So that's one of my answers. One of my answers is that x equals negative 2. Now, once you get your first answer, the second part's super easy, because literally you can take that negative 2 and you can plug it in right here. So does everybody see where it says y equals 2 times x plus 9? So now all I got to do is take, now that I found x, what am I going to plug in right there? I'm going to plug in a negative 2. So I have to do 2 times negative 2 plus 9. So I took one of my answers, and now I'm substituting that in for x. And I get negative 4 plus 9, and my answer is 5. So what are my two answers? Negative 2 and a positive 5. So as an ordered pair, my solution would be negative 2 and a positive 5. Okay, negative 2, positive 5. And that's what I'm going to type in. Okay. Now, that's using what? Just doing it by hand. Did we do any graphing or anything like that to find that? No, we just did that's the algebraic way of solving it. So we did negative 2 and we did positive 5, and we're just trusting that that works. And we did a good job. Okay? Now, some of you don't like the substitution method, okay? It's just like you don't like solving. It's very difficult. So this last one that I want you to write down, I'm going to show you another way that you could do it, and I would allow you to do it this way. Okay? So right now, this is the non-substitution way to still be able to solve this. So if you guys were to write these two equations down nice and neat, which one of these would you be allowed to use and type into Desmos test mode for the star version? It would actually graph it. Do you think the top one would be graphed or the bottom one? The bottom one. So guys, if you would please, this one you would be allowed to graph in Desmos because it's a single variable. It's an x equals. Desmos only graphs two types of equations, x equals and y equals, okay? So does everybody see how you could type this into Desmos? But here, this is standard form. Well, it's pretty close to standard form. So I'm just going to put, ready? Put ax plus by equals c. Now, technically in standard form, you're not supposed to have a negative, but it really doesn't matter for us. The one thing we need to understand, all of my students, I would like them to know how to find the slope in standard form. Anybody remember the formula for the slope in standard form? Negative a over b is correct. Negative a over b is correct for finding the slope in standard form. Does anybody remember the cute little formula for the y-intercept? Like if I wanted to find my y-intercept, what would that equal? C over what? C over b. Now, this will only work if and only if you know how to identify a, b, and c. Does anybody know what a is? Negative 10, very good. B, 3, and c is 5, very good. So let's take a look at these numbers and let's just plug them in, okay? So here, my slope is negative. I got to open up a parentheses, and what's my a value? My a value is negative 10. And what's my b value? My b value is 3. So my slope in this line is going to be 10 thirds. Let's look at our y-intercept. Our y-intercept is c over b. Well, what's my c value? 5, and my b value is 3. So it looks like my y-intercept, I'm going to put lowercase b. All right, lowercase b represents your y-intercept in slope-intercept form. I'm going to put 5 over 3. Now, if you guys were to write this in slope-intercept form and convert it, my answer would be, ready? Y equals 10 over 3x plus 5 thirds. Now, would Desmos accept this in the graphing? Yeah, it would. So here's what I'd like you to do. I want you guys just follow along with me, okay? You don't have to type it in. I'm going to type it in for you. You just follow along. Make sure you write down 10 thirds x plus 5 thirds. Now, what did we do? We didn't use the substitution method on this one, guys. What we did was we took this guy and we converted it to this guy. So we converted it from standard form to slope-intercept form. That's what we did. So here we go. Let's check it out. So I'm going to go over here. I'm going to open up a window. I'm going to type in. So right now, I'm going to type in x equals because we can do x equals. Anybody remember what x was equal to? Y minus 4. So I'm going to type in y minus 4. Okay. Now let me show you what you couldn't do. You said negative 10x plus 3y equals 5. The whole purpose of this is because you're not allowed to do negative 10x, was it plus 3y equaled 5. Does everybody see that little exclamation? It doesn't work, okay? So we had to change it to what? Slope-intercept form. So what was our answer in slope-intercept form? Y equals what? I know somebody in my class wrote them down. Out of all the people. Was it 10 over 3? X plus 5 over 3? Like that? Okay. Do you guys see how these right here, you can graph them, and do you see where the two lines meet? Where? 1 and a 5. So check this out. Now, this is not the process that I did there was not using the process of substitution, okay? That was using a different process. What process did we do there? We changed it from standard form to slope-intercept form, okay? But that's what I want you guys to be working on, is making sure you do one method or the other. Just make sure you know how to do one method or the other. All right, guys, the next topic we're going to be talking about is called elimination strategies, and I want you guys to understand like what elimination means. Elimination means, like for example, if I had 8x and I added a negative 8x, that would add together to equal 0. This would mean my x's would be eliminated. What we're doing right now is we're trying to figure out which one of these works. Sometimes there's going to be more than one. So right now, if you take a look at these equations, look what would happen right now if I added the equations together. If I added these together, I would get 9x. If I added the y's together, what would happen to the y's? They would get eliminated. So if they get eliminated, that means that's an answer. Okay? So that's one of my answers. One of my answers is A. If I add the equations, my y values would be eliminated. Now, if I subtract the top equation from the bottom equation, these would not be eliminated. If I took the top equation, which is 5x plus 3y equals 9, and I took the top equation and I took it away from the bottom equation, I want you to understand nothing would get eliminated because all of these would become negative. Now the 9's would eliminate, but that's not a variable. We're trying to eliminate the variable, so B is definitely not an answer. If I subtract the bottom equation from the top equation, nothing would get eliminated. So I'll show you how to subtract in case you're wondering how to subtract. If I took the bottom equation away from the top equation, all I did was distribute a negative, distribute a negative, distribute a negative. My top equation is 5x plus 3y equals 9. The only thing that would get eliminated are my constants at the end, but once again, I'm trying to eliminate variables, not constants. So once again, these would add together to equal 6y, these would add together to equal an x, and when we combined equations, this is what would happen. So the only correct answer is A. That's the only one that works. All right, on this one, what I'm going to do is I'm not expecting you to write every single thing down. It says which of these strategies would eliminate a variable in the system of equations. So I'm going to check the first one. It says multiply the top equation by 6 and multiply the bottom equation by -5. So I'm going to do what it tells me to do. I'm going to take the top equation and I'm going to multiply it by a 6. I'm going to take the bottom equation and multiply it by a -5, and we're going to see what happens. If I take the top equation and I multiply it by a 6, I get 48x plus 30y equals -42. If I take the bottom equation and I multiply it by a -5, I get 35x minus 30y equals +20. Now, if I add these equations together, what happens to all the y values? They get eliminated. So I know answer choice A totally would work in this particular circumstance. So I'm definitely choosing answer choice A. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do the next thing. It says multiply the top equation by a 7 and then add the equations. Okay, I'll multiply the top equation by a 7. Well, if I multiply the top equation by a 7, I get 56x plus 35y equals -49. If I put the other equation right underneath it, you'll notice nothing's going to get eliminated. Okay? If I add these equations together, nothing gets canceled out. So B is not correct. And by the way, just so you guys know, this one's not correct either. If I multiply the bottom equation by 8, nothing happens. Okay? So right now, the only correct answer is A. All right, last one. All right? Which of these strategies would eliminate a variable in the system of equations? What do I have to do? I have to check to see if these work. Okay? So here we go. Multiply the top equation by a half, then add the equations. So what am I going to do? I'm going to multiply the top equation by a half. When I multiply everything by a half, so I'm going to multiply the top equation by a half. Half of 10 is 5. Half of 4 is 2. Half of -2 is -1. I'm going to bring down the other equation right next to it, right underneath it. If I added these equations together, would anything get eliminated? Would anything get eliminated if I added these equations together? Yes, these right here. These would be eliminated. So that's definitely one of my answer. So I'm definitely going to choose answer choice A. Multiply the bottom equation by 2, then subtract the bottom equation from the top equation. Okay, I'll do that. I'm going to take the bottom equation, and what am I going to multiply it by? 2. So I'm going to multiply it by 2. I get 10x minus 4y equals 4. I'm going to put the top equation right above it. And then it tells me to do what? Subtract the bottom equation from the top. If I take this bottom equation away from the top equation, would the x values get eliminated? Yes, they would. So therefore, I'm choosing B. If I just add these equations together, would anything get eliminated? Would any variable get eliminated if I just added the equations together? No, they wouldn't. This would become a what? A 15x. This would become a plus 2y. Now, these would zero out, so your constants would zero out, but the variables, no variables. So right now I have 2 answers that would work. I realize I'm saying a lot, but what I want you guys to understand is you have to follow the instructions. What are the instructions? You have to do the instructions and see if they eliminate a variable or if they don't. If they eliminate a variable, you choose the answer. If it doesn't eliminate a variable, then don't choose the answer. And that's about all I can tell you to do. Either it works or it doesn't work. Only choose the answers that work. And that's all I got to say about that.